Udah live belum? Wih, live ternyata. Tes. Oke, sip. Live random, main game random sambil nungguin Honkai Star Rail. Dan gue mau main Path of Exile. Ini game dari dulu pengen gue mainin. Udah gue bisa mainin sekarang nih. Game action RPG. Mapnya kok gede banget sih. UI zoom. Oh lihat web. Gue mesti upgrade up dulu nih buat tahu. Kayaknya soundnya gede ya. Korean Square.
This'll do nicely, Exile. Welcome, exile. Ah. Bye.
This seems like a good area. Journey well.
Ntar dulu, ini lihat mana lagi dia. Replenishing remedies. Oke.
Curious. With the death of the last monster here, the very air, keep your life to your...
Welcome, exile.
Tiga. Luas banget mapnya. Penjel.
good find.
Mission
Another good
complete.
find.
Templar Codes Entrance. Di sini bukan. Find High Templar Avarius and kill him. Melboot kampas. Chamber of Innocence. Sana bukan? Yep. Ada crafting resep gitu. Eh, baca dulu. Proceed. Jauh banget cuy. Fountain of Innocence. Before you enter, get the receipt altar that is response in the room to the left and prepare to fight. Ya kan? Ada? Enggak.
The world must be cleansed of impurity.
Look that. Innocent, the Emperor of Eternity. Andrew. Woo.
Innocence. You, and only you, I shall save.
Innocent and sin.
I am Sin, the Forgotten One. Would that humanity could forget all of my kind. Perhaps with your help, that might still come to pass. For now, the blinding light has been dimmed, and darkness floods in to fill the void.
What the heck?
Deep in the Templar's ossuary, in the company of the dead, there lies the sign of purity. Innocence bled himself for the creation of that cruel and desperate weapon. Tempered in his own ruby ichor, it was forged to be a transcendent tool of punishment and purification. The sign is a living agent of righteousness, or at least the dubious kind of righteousness that my brother subscribes to. Innocence found in the first High Templar a most faithful servant, and gifted the sign to him so that it might be used in times of great need. The great need of Innocence believers, that is. Though I am a god, I have not forgotten my humanity. I care for that which I once was. Kitava remembers nothing and cares for nothing but his own hunger and greed. He is an endless pit of gnashing teeth and churning guts. While other gods rise on the mainland and fight for the meager scraps of what was, Kitava has the most fecund and formidable civilization of his age at his disposal. He lives, after a fashion. That pretentious little vessel of his served only to encourage his divine follies. I have procured him a more sensible host, one that should contain his excesses, and I am sin. Should Kitava accept their invitation, there is but one thin sliver of hope for us all. My brother.
Kitara has awakened and is destroying Oriat. Go back through the temple courts to Oriat Square and find the entrance to the ossuary. Inside, find the sign of authority and use it to defeat Kitava.
What in damnation have you done?
You've destroyed him, and yet I hear the voice of innocence, begging for our forgiveness, asking for our help. You and I. I heard him the moment the High Templar fell, whispering inside my damn skull, his heart beating within my chest. Innocence protects us now, holds fast the door against the murderous tide that rushes to meet us. He wants you to pass through that door, to bring order to the chaos beyond. I don't understand any of this. Moments ago...
You deserve recognition for what you have done. You've freed us from Templar oppression. Yet
Well, Viridian Crimson. Nggak tahu. Coba dulu.
Once Kitava has gobbled up every scrap of Oriathan flesh, sucked every Oriathan bone dry of marrow, he'll turn his endless hunger to Namakanui and the whole Karui archipelago. As you know, the Karui will fight, and they'll fight hard, but they're going to need all the help they can get. And I know of 3 treasures that might just make the difference. They were taken when the Templar raided Namakanui. A whip woven of Hinekora's hair. A tooth that Tukohama ripped from his own mouth.
Glad you made it. No, damn it all, that's just too strange to abide. I'm glad you made it. And innocence tells me I need to keep helping you. So that's what I'm going to do. I know my way around weapons and armor, and all things Templar if you should want for further enlightenment on that. Lani's told me a little about Utula and his cult of Kitava. Enough to know what Utula's got planned. Bring about the fall of one god so he can raise up one of his own. And this Kitava, from what fragments I can piece together from innocence, he's not the benevolent kind.
I see. Ula.
Don't ever give up.
Hello.
movement speed and asserted attack.
Mana ya rating receipt? Kayaknya udah nggak biarin.
the sacrifice attacks. Whoop.
I give you to the earth.
Loh. Jalannya habis. The ruined square. Nope. Nope.
An empire is nothing more than a standard pitched in the naked earth. The time has come for you to raise the standard upon the peak of false faith, the apex of Chitta's cathedral. Drive it deep into that sacred stone. Mark the death of a faithless empire.
That's impressive.
Oke, boleh. Resisten kok resisten.
Greetings. For freedom.
Hei. Banyak dropan. Eh
Hongui, daughter of the moon, was preparing for a feast to celebrate Tsukuhama's return from his war on the first... Hongui, daughter of the moon, was preparing for a feast to celebrate Tsukuhama's return from his war on the first ones of the Ezamites. Tafor, son of the forest, asked each of the birds to sacrifice one of their kind for the feast. He gave these offerings to Hongui, who cooked them in a great fire stone pit. Seeing all of those plump birds cooking made Kitava very hungry, and he offered to watch them, to make sure they didn't burn while Hongui rested during the heat of the day. Hongui
Kenapa?
thanked Kitava for his
Iya
kindness,
sayang.
but while...
Ada. Iya. Kayaknya sih suka sih harusnya. Iya.
to replace the feast of birds that Kitava had greedily consumed. Tsukuhama, our father of war, and Valakor, father of storm, went fishing. Although Kitava was blind, he could still cast his line and feel when a fish took his bait. So, Tsukuhama and Valakor took him with them on Tsukuhama's mighty canoe. But while they fished, Kitava grew hungry and secretly ate all of their bait of grubs and worms. Disgusted and angry, Tsukuhama and Valakor decided to use Kitava as bait instead. Valakor used his own jawbone as a hook, impaled Kitava on it, and cast both into the sea.
Apa? Agak bandel.
Tsukuhama, our father of war, and Valakor, father of storm, took Kitava to Hinekora, mother of death. They asked her to kill the greedy Kitava, for surely their tribe would starve if Kitava continued to live among them. But Hinekora refused, for death would not teach Kitava the lesson he needed to learn. Instead, Hinekora beat Kitava with a whip woven of her own hair. To Kitava, each strand was a searing lash, and so he wore thousands and thousands of blistering lashes across his back as Hinekora drove him.
Not all slaves believed Utula's lies. Some I know have managed to steal a ship and are soon to set sail for Namakanui. Hopefully, with these treasures on board, Valakor will bless their voyage and breathe deeply into their sails. No, I'm not going with them. I help. Remember, we do this for freedom. Yes? I can't yet begin to unpick the lies that Utula has told us. But this piece of truth I do have. Utula sensed that very moment when you struck your final blow, when you broke the Templar's power. He turned to me and told me this. Now our king. Bannon is unexpected. At least, he's not the sort of Templar that I'm used to dealing with. His ideas about innocence almost make sense to me. The way he worships innocence and receives such power in return. When I was a courier for my father's house, I'd cross Cathedral Square 100 times in a day. On the fair, the King's Feast is an ancient ritual born of less enlightened times. Long before the Karui followed the way, one tribe would conquer another and a feast would be prepared for the triumphant king. The main dishes of this feast were selected carefully for the sweetness of their nature and the tenderness. Remember what Utula said about Kitava? He is the tormented one, destined to rise up from the darkness, and we, his children, rise with him. It was there all along, in eyes too bright and...
Stop. Skip. Oke, terlalu. Stop.
Apa?
The flame of hope may flicker, but it cannot be extinguished.
Eh? Minus 30% sih.
There is no shame in falling to a god. Shame lies only in refusing to rise again. You shall soar. That much I'm permitted to foresee. You shall ascend to the peak of your loftiest mistake, and from there you shall pluck a single surviving hope from the jaws of mortal despair. A ship sails for Lion Eye's watch, not far from you.
Return to right class. Kill Utula to prevent him from completing the Kingfish ritual. Utula mana Utula? Eh? Mana Ursula? Di manakah kamu? Di manakah kamu?
Did you think our vengeance was done, Savior? Oh no. It has only begun.
Oke, selesai.
You're still alive. So is Kitava. What more do you need to know?
For freedom. Kitava is a primal deity, forged from the most fundamental of human desires, hunger. The simple act of craving that which we cannot yet consume. To defeat Kitava is to... Bannon claims that a god now lives inside his head and talks to him. What... People have talked about the return of the gods since the birth of Oriath. It's a gambit employed by charlatans to fleece the weak-minded and morally desperate. Or so it seemed. Avarius and his Templar drones now greet the dawn filled with power and glorious purpose. You really don't have a strong grip on cause and effect, do you? Things replace other things. It's the most fundamental of laws. The larger the thing you remove, the bigger the rush to fill the space that's left behind. Innocence was the nexus of power in Oriath. Dominus adopted Chittis Cathedral as his personal laboratory. He decked it out with everything his miraculous mind could conceive of. Now, where was I?
The High Priest is dead, yet the object of his devotion remains. There's no doubt you did all right bringing that man-turned-monster to heel, but you weren't able to stop him fishing his master out of a river of blood. Damn. Sorry. I never could get the hang of boosting morale. Didn't seem right to polish the edges off harsh facts. Probably why I never made captain.
Wah, ampas semua.
I don't ask this in the name of innocence. He understands now the folly his devotees have wrought upon this world. I ask in the name of Oriath. There are many that deserve what Kitava... I'm having a little trouble explaining it myself. I've never been the most devout of men, especially for a Templar, more of a soldier than a believer. But now, Innocence himself rests within me. His voice is weak, barely a whisper, yet still he has the power to keep us safe from Kitava's hunger. At least for now. For my part, for a long time now I thought my god's intentions were being twisted by his supposed servants. Did I speak up? No. The pyre would have been my only answer. I did what I was told and drew the lines of morality where I could. Now I understand the truth. It wasn't Innocence's intention being twisted. It was Innocence himself, perverted by the selfish conviction. A sign of purity. Let's see. A staff, bathed in innocent blood. No. Sorry, bathed in the blood of innocence. Yes, Innocence gave a part of his divine self to the thing, and gifted it to the Templar. Now that I recall, I read a tome. Devotion should be honored, I suppose. For centuries now, the Templar have boiled the flesh and skin from the devout, and presented the polished remains. I'd be lying if I said my hands were clean of slavery's blood. I was a soldier. I went where Dominus ordered me to go. I sailed with the expedition to Namakanui, killed Karui warriors, and rounded up Karui captives like every other bastard in a Templar. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't trust her. Yeah, I've got my reasons. Piety kept her work pretty quiet, but her results were brutally clear. The people she took, the people she... Don't ever give up.
Hello.
I'm Captain Lily Roth, and we sail for Rayclast. Better to live in exile than die on this psychotic bonfire of an island. You want to make it out of here, you'd better get on. Remember, this ain't no charity run. You owe me. Cast off! All right. We're safe for the time being. Now let me introduce myself properly. Lily Roth. Yep, I'm one of those Roths. Some call me smuggler, others pirate. Yeah, I prefer the sound of nautical entrepreneur. Came up, don't think I'd be forgetting that favor you owe to me. In fact, now I think of it, there's certainly a way you can be repaying this most considerable debt. You see, those blasted cultists have been plundering the refugee ships trying to escape Oriath. And if not for my incomparable skill as a sea captain, we'd have met the same fate. But now the drowned dead are washing ashore, and they ain't staying dead. There's been a whole lot of blood, sweat and tears getting these few lucky survivors here in one piece. What sort of captain? Whalem Roth. Here, let me share something I remember from my granddaddy's stories. Time and tide wait for no man. Good tidings to you. Yeah, I knew Tarkley, if you catch me drift. He's got no time for his old bunkmate these days, though. Too gaga-eyed over his lost cause of a fishwife, Nessa. Time was, Tarkley and I would smuggle all about the coast of Oriath. Good days they was. Sweet with rum, nothing but the wind and salt in our faces, freedom in our hearts, and the law on our tails. But I could tell he were getting ready to make feet for children's stockings with me, so I cut him loose. Not a spark's chance under the ocean, the dreaded... Whalem Roth. Here, let me share something I remember from my granddaddy's stories. No sooner had the others turned in fear from the great white Leviathan did Whalem load the ballista with his final harpoon. And right then he vowed to sea and sky that he and he alone would be the one to finally kill this bastard. Yeah, I knew. That scallywag. I reckon Bestel thinks I'd be the kind of lass who'll bed down with any sort of rascal. Not too far off, I guess. He is rather sweet, but not the most comely of figures. Actually, he kind of reminds me of my grandfather, Whalem Roth. Poet and scoundrel extraordinaire he be. Bestel's but time and tide wait for no man.
Despite your best efforts, Beast Slayer, a splinter of hope remains. The very seed that brought my beast into existence. The dark ember. Never again shall it birth a life so magnificent as the beast. Yet a residue of that power still lingers. Enough to give us a fighting chance against the ravenous Kitava. How do we obtain this dark ember? 3 hearts were silenced. 3 hearts must sing again, one last time. In that final flickering of life, our savior's seed shall be born. All I need are 3 fine souls with which to stoke the flames. Chevron of Umbra, Inquisitor Maligaro, Doldre the Dark Tongue. If she is to be of any use to us, the Umbra's spirit must be wrenched from her mortal manifestation and lashed to our greater cause. That is your task. For my part, I shall negotiate the terms of her cooperation. With a tragic kiss and lasting embrace, her essence shall pass into me as if she were sweet breath from the mouth of my lover. It is a sacrosanct sacrifice. Ambition is the bane of mortality. It was through ambition that we gods transcended the thick mud and thin blood of our mundane birthrights. Ambition that drove us to sustain our divine selves through the subjugation of others. Chevron's soul is made up of 1 part ambition and 2 parts raw, unbounded passion. Such a volatile spark shall burn briefly and brightly, and even the most... I shall put this simply, for in truth, everything comes down to the simple act of planting a seed in the ground. The gods are rising because you slew the one creature that prevented them from doing so. Your name for it is the Beast. It was I who planted the seed in the rich soil beneath Highgate, who nurtured it, who watched it bloom into maturity, even as I succumbed to its mollifying powers. We gods, we were driven into slumbering darkness, to dream away eternity whilst the gentle beast watched over us. I would desire that we return to that blissful state, but my brothers and sisters of deism shall never submit to banishment. The beast was never a cruel master. It didn't want to destroy, to corrupt, to terrorize. It simply existed to exist. I made it that way. Unfortunately, in neglecting to provide it with ambition, I made it vulnerable to the ambitions of others. Queen Atziri and Doriani, Emperor Chittus and Malachi. Others even before them. I created a beast that would free humanity from the tyranny of the gods. Yet all I really did was provide the perfect tool with which humanity could... Despite your best efforts, Beast Slayer, a splinter, remember, humanity needs us.
Baron of Inkley, you have transgressed against your god and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins.
Now there's a pair of eyes I could never forget. If the tales are true, those peepers of yours have seen all the wonders of Rayclass by now, and a few things they likely wish they hadn't. Oh, now, I'm sure you've noticed that Lion Ice Watch has seen better days. Our once bubbling township has, alas, become a brooding quagmire of gloom and despair. I blame the unrelenting weather. As you know, I am both a humanitarian and a strong believer in the soul-sustaining power of story. Back when I was still captain of the Merry-Go, many days at sea afforded me time to work on my thespian aspirations. I wrote a theatrical epic. Now there's a sorry tale, more miserable than any dirge I've ever heard. Nessa's gone, wandered off into the night, muttering to herself about dancing to his ditty. No, I didn't go after her. In truth, she was gone. Lily Roth, granddaughter of the legendary Rottooth Roth. Oh, apologies if I seem a little giddy. It's not any old day you get to meet marine royalty. I mean, you know how I feel about pirates and all that. Yes, we live in curious times indeed. A time when old stories of birth, mewling, and puking into our world of dirt and blood. It's all a bit inspiring. You won't find a sailor that doesn't whisper a quiet blasting off. In fact, under the maddening radiance of a full moon, the more superstitious captains would drown some poor slave, failed mutineer, just to keep old Tsawogoth happy. No, you'll not find a more renowned pirate as Whalem Rocktooth Roth. In times when Fairgraves was still a whelp earning his sea legs, Rocktooth was prowling the Strait of Orioth in his ship, the Black Crest. It's said he built it himself, lining its hull with the bones of some great sea. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that lion ice one.
First we hear that Oriath has lost its bloody mind, and then you turn up. Doesn't take a scholar to work out how these two events might be connected. I don't know what's going on out there, and I probably wouldn't understand it if I saw it with my own two eyes. Nessa, I saw her one night, running out across the coast, headed in the direction of the mudflats. Called out to her, but she didn't even turn her head. Maybe she couldn't hear me. Maybe she didn't want to. I don't bloody know. I tried to run after her, but she'd vanished into the darkness before my feet had barely touched the sand. So I tracked her, all the way to the mudflats, and that's when her tracks, they just stopped. No sign of meeting someone. I wonder how much Lily squeezed out of those refugees from Oriath. Yes, she did risk her life and ship to save them, but I knew the Lily of old. I had a life before Lion Eye's watch. Not much of one by some people's standards, but it was good enough for me. Lily and I, we'd smuggle a bit of booze to keep our purses full. We were good at it, too. Made us a fine partnership, her quick mind and my steady nerves, right up until the day she left me drunk and trussed on Penance Key. By the time the blackguards unwrapped their present, she was halfway. Never took much stock in the stories Lily told. Didn't sit right. Those full moon sacrifices her and her ilk would do out on the open water. But now, in light of everything, those shambling nobles out there on the strand, they left Oriath to die a bloody death, rats fleeing a sinking ship. Seems they learned a bit of the hard truth, though. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't outrun death when it comes for you. Can't say they've actually noticed, though. Farewell.
Yes? My apologies, Exile, but I'm waiting for someone. Perhaps you could attend. Stay out of trouble.
Nessa, kemana kamu Nessa? Hilang. Clear the Twilight Strand. Mobile debt. Selesai.
A wretched sight. So many drowned Oriathans cast into undeath. You freed them from their torment, and I'm sure they'd be grateful. While you be skulking about, I've managed to do a bit of hunting on my own. Got a hole full of baubles and trinkets here, which I managed to, procure. You have the look of a wayfarer about you. I have a few bits and bobs in the hold that I managed to salvage from Oriath. Might be you're in the market for a little insurance for the...
Lengkap.
Can't see why I'd want to do that here.
Mana dia? What's that? Smuggler kit.
Do I hear the clink of markers in your pockets? Claimed from one of your victims? Or perhaps the victim of one of your victims? It is impossible to know how far back that chain could unwind, but now they belong to you. And you seem to be in good health. to the victor, etc. Do I hear the clink of mark? Anytime.
Enter the portal. Apa iki? Fitur baru. Kota apa nih? Ya ada Bang Edi. Ayayay. Welcome. Gimana kabarnya Bang Edi? Wah, salah gua. Salah.
What now?
Nope. Game apa? Serius amat. Ini game namanya Path of Exile. Kalau genrenya itu action RPG. Bang Edi pernah main Diablo nggak? Pernah denger nggak dia game Diablo? Jadi konsepnya seperti itu ini gamenya. Jadi ini live gua main game bener-bener buat main game nih. Jadi tujuannya itu main gamenya itu bener-bener buat main game, bukan buat menghibur, bukan buat ini itu, tapi bener-bener buat main game aja. Dan ya begini kalau gue lagi main game serius. Katanya memang kalau kita main game bener-bener kita main game itu serius mainnya, nggak ngomong kayak ini itu. Cuma jadi streamer doang, dimana main gamenya itu ya perlu ngomong terus kayak gitu deh. Saya nggak pernah main Diablo. Oh oke lah. Ini namanya game ARPG, action RPG. Jadi konsepnya seperti ini. Ya kayak ya gimana ya sebutannya ya. Ini genre sendiri sih. Salah satu genre game. Jadi game kan itu kayak ada MMORPG, ada MOBA, ada hack and slash, ada open world. Jadi ya ini genrenya genre sendiri. Game tipe-tipe action RPG. Ini questnya kemana nih? Crystal Epic. Baik kok, oke lah, sip lah. Jadi gue belum main Genshin dulu. Jadi Genshinnya ntar dulu. Gak ada suara. Saya baru install game yang sesuai dengan saya. Cocok. Game apa tuh, Bang Edi? Yang sesuai dengan Bang Edi. Game apakah? Coba saya tebak. Pasti game open world. Game open world bukan? Bridge of Spirit. Bridge of Spirit. Game apa tuh? Gue baru pertama kali denger. Coba bentar gue lihat tuh. Hampir mati dong. Ini apa Anda? Gue liatin dulu. Aktif. Twilight Stand. Coast. Udah. Ada island. Game santai, petualangan. Coba gue search dulu. Bridge of Spirit. Bridge of Spirit. Kena. Tunggu loh. Oh, kena. Gue bilang kena itu kena gitu. Kena. Bridge of Spirit. Oh. Coba ini. Oh iya. Ini game ada dimainin juga sama YouTuber besar. Beli di mana? Di Steam. Bang itu, Bang Edi, belinya di Steam.
Marvelous. Oh, yes, yes, it's all here. Act 1, scene.
Semua live atau string ya? String aja tuh. Resistensinya nggak ada nanti. Fire, cold, lightning, chaosnya nggak ada. Minus. Ya beli di Steam. Pas saya beli 150, sekarang udah 80.000 kocak. 80.000-nya itu harga normal atau harga diskon tuh? Kalau harga normalnya jadi 80.000 suram tuh. Tapi biasa gamenya itu memang kalau apa ya, seiring berjalannya waktu itu memang bakal turun harganya. Bakal turun harganya, kayak kalau game baru muncul itu bakal 700.000, 600.000 gitu kan normalnya kan. Nanti 3 tahun kemudian itu bisa 50% turunnya itu. 6 tahun kemudian tuh lebih turun lagi. Ya itu game lama makanya murah. Saya suka grafiknya. Aduh sakit cuy. God Trapper Wood. Ambil. Tadi pas awal saya lihat kirain lagi main Dota. Enggak, bukan. bukan main Dota. Ini namanya PoE. Ini gamenya udah lama keluar ya, dari tahun 2013. Gue masih ingat nih ketika tahun 2013 itu gue jadi operator warnet mainin game ini. Jadi dulu gue besar ya, pertama kali main game itu salah satu game yang gue mainin itu adalah Diablo, game PC ya. Diablo 2 gitu. Bareng sama teman-teman semuanya main di warnet gitu kan. Tapi sekarang kalau mau main Diablo kan nggak bisa tuh, karena perlu bayar. Diablo 4 dia mau rilis sih. Ini Oppo ini. Gue juga baru main game ini lagi sih. Jadi gamenya udah berubah drastis dari tahun 2013. Maksudnya bukan berubah drastis dari gameplaynya ya, tapi kayak fitur-fiturnya banyak bener. Kayak ini nih. Ini apaan ini? Udah. Salah. 29 strength, 20 armor, elemental resistance, fire resistance, fire resistance. 56, 10, 45. Itu Nesa. Sebentar. Questnya apa aja nih? Nesa. Wah seru kayaknya main warnet sama teman-teman rame. Ya dulu ketika zamannya Ragnarok, ketika Dota 1, apalagi ya game yang rame-rame ya, Dragon Nest atau Exile, apalagi banyak game dulu main rame-rame bareng teman. Sampai kalau tidur itu tidurnya di warnet. Ya gamer dari kecil sih gua. Gamernya lebih tepatnya mulai gamernya itu dari SMP. Main PlayStation. Bukan SMP. Mulai gamernya itu dari SD. Kamu punya PlayStation 1, itu gue nyewa sama temen. Main 1 jam gue bayar 10.000. 10.000 itu kan waktu itu tuh lama gitu kan. Bukan lama, mahal gitu kan. Utang gue sama temen gue 10.000. Main sejam. Hal yang belum pernah saya alami. Kalau sekarang mah gampang. Dia memang gak mainnya di warnet sih, tapi mungkin ya pakai Discord, pakai headset, terus bisa mabar, main game Valorant, main game apa gitu.
He did this to me, the King of Brian, and he wants me to be. Oh God, please, I don't know how I'm doing this, nor if I may again. Help me, help us before he
Nesanya kok jadi Putri Duyung? Nessa has been transformed into a mermaid by the Brine King. Search for her in the coastal area such as the ship graveyard. Berikutnya gue mau main game apa ya? Lagi seru sih main game ini. Agak nostalgia gitu ketika pasti itu.
You there, local, come here.
Oh enggak mau. Ntar aja ngomong sama lo. Karui Fortress. Tapi apa ya? Penasaran gue yang
Bet a
ngomong.
yokel like yourself would be eager to see some explosions. Never mind why we're blowing things up just yet. We'll get to that. I've gone ahead and marked the locations of likely treasures and dangers. Consider me magnanimous.
Oh, item-itemnya ini. Udah 2 jam ya gue live ya. Saya lagi nunggu God of War turun harganya. Suruh kayaknya dulu pernah main di PS2 tamat. Bagus tuh katanya God of War. Tapi God of War Bang Edi kan ada tuh God of War yang pertama tuh. Bukan God of War yang terbaru. God of War yang terbaru kalau nggak salah God of War Ragnarok namanya kan. Tapi kan ada God of War yang sebelumnya. Kalau nggak salah God of War itu lanjut itunya, masuk berlanjut. Maksudnya apa ya? Bersambung ceritanya kalau nggak salah ya. Jadi God of War yang mana sih? Yang mana mau dibeli? Yang baru kah? Kalau game mobile saat ini gue mau nunggu Honkai Star Rail sih. Itu game udah agak gue tunggu lama juga. Ya yang baru yang naro. Kapan nih Honkai Star Rail? Saya juga nunggu kok. Kabarnya sih April tanggal 26. Kabarnya. Tapi belum fix sih. By the way Bang Edi, kalau lihat yang begini pusing nggak? Kalau yang lihat begini pusing nggak? Ini game 2013 muncul rilis, sampai sekarang masih banyak yang main. Tapi ya marketnya itu orang itu ya, marketnya itu barat. Ininya gitu. Kenapa banyak orang mainin gitu kan? Karena hampir kalau build nih ya, itu kalau kita ngebangun build karakter itu hampir lu mau bikin apa aja bisa gitu loh. Jadi kayak kombinasi skillnya itu ya banyak gitu loh. Ini kan kalau dipencet gue kayak klik kanan gini-gini doang skillnya gitu kan. Ini kan kelihatan kayak gampang gitu kan. Tapi sebenarnya yang susahnya itu adalah ini. Gimana biar sinergi. Jadi ya gitu deh. Aduh, hampir mati gua. Jujur saya sih pusing main beginian, sama tembak-tembakan kurang suka. Oh, berarti kalau FPS gitu kurang suka ya? Tipe-tipe game yang lebih ke santai-santai ya? Tapi kan open world kan ada tembak-tembaknya tuh. Open world. Tembak-tembak yang kayak gimana maksudnya? Makip. Kayak PUBG, Valorant dan lain-lain. Oh. Tapi kalau tembak-tembakan kayak open world gitu masih oke. Corrupted.
Let me teach you the laws of war.
Lanjut, lawan bos.
Tukohama. The soil wants for your blood no more. I am sin, thief of virtue, and it is mine to take what I will from the defeated, to make a gift of it to the victorious. Alas, your mortal frame cannot withstand the unfettered fire of deism. It would turn your blood to mist and scorch your precious flesh black.
Sebentar. Jadi disaranin pantheonnya itu adalah Soul of Tukohama.
May humanity flourish.
Game santai petualangan dengan grafik bagus. Asar dulu kok. Oh ya udah. Aduh, ini gue berhenti live ya. Gue belum makan juga. Belum makan siang. Tadi makan itu jam 9 sih. Jam 9 gitu sarapannya. Jadi belum makan siang. Dan juga rencananya memang live-nya itu mau selesai pas asar. Oke. Jadi thank you ya Bang Wedi nongol sebentar. Gue tahu gue lagi main Genshin. Tapi mau say thank you buat Bang Edi karena nongol sebentar di stream. Oke. Dadah. Thank you ya. Sebelum cabut gue seperti biasa. Tidak loh. Dadah. Thank you ya.